All right, ready to dive in. Today's deep dive takes us into the world of entrepreneurship. We're going to be looking at excerpts that you sent in from a book called The Seven Key Habits. But this isn't like your typical business how-to. It goes deeper than that. It's really about the mindset behind success. And it even pulls wisdom from some big names like, Bill Gates and Oprah.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it brings in not just modern entrepreneurs, but it looks back at historical figures too, people like Andrew Carnegie.
Yeah.
It's almost like getting a glimpse into the strategies they use to achieve success.
Okay, so let's pretend you're handing this book to someone who's, just starting their entrepreneurial journey. What's the first big idea they should grab onto?
Well, the book makes a pretty bold statement right off the bat. It basically says persistence is more important than patience. And they use Steve Jobs as an example. He was actually ousted from Apple, but then he came back and took the company to even greater heights.
Okay, I get that. But I mean, it's easy to say be persistent, but what does that actually look like in practice? Especially when you're facing rejection after rejection.
Well, that's what's so cool about this book. It actually digs into that. They talk about Slava Rubin, the founder of Indiegogo. He was rejected by over 90 venture capitalists before he finally got funding.
90.
90, that's right. The point is, when it comes to funding, you have to analyze why you're getting those no's. Is it your pitch? Is it your marketing? And then you have to relentlessly refine and adapt.
Wow, 90 rejections.
Yeah.
That's wild. But the book doesn't just talk about funding, right? What about all the other challenges entrepreneurs face?
Yeah, you're right. It tackles those head on. Things like competition, unforeseen obstacles, all that fun stuff. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't just present the problems, it actually offers advice on how to overcome them. For example, when you're facing tough competition, it suggests finding new ways to market your product or maybe figuring out how to differentiate yourself even more.
So it's not enough to have a great idea. You also need that tenacity to adapt and overcome hurdles.
Exactly. And speaking of hurdles, the book also talks about failure, which is something every entrepreneur has to deal with at some point. But instead of fearing failure, it encourages us to see it as, well, as valuable data, almost like a guidepost telling you what not to do next time.
I like that, turning failure into feedback. So we've got persistence, adaptability. What else does this book say sets entrepreneurs up for success?
Well, it really emphasizes the importance of continuous learning, and they use reading as a prime example. The book actually highlights the impressive reading habits of people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. They don't just read for fun, they see it as a way to stay ahead of the curve.
That's interesting. I know both of those guys are huge readers, but how does that translate into building a successful business? Is it just about staying up to date on industry trends?
It's bigger than that. Reading exposes you to new ideas and different perspectives. It helps you communicate better. Bill Gates, for instance, reads about everything from technology and history to fiction. He's always trying to connect the dots between different fields. It's about developing an adaptable mind.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about broadening your horizons and making connections you might not have seen before.
Right. And that's a crucial skill in today's world, where things are changing so rapidly.
So staying curious is as important as having a killer business plan. I love that. What else is in store for us in this book?
It also emphasizes the importance of thinking long term. They use companies like Amazon and Facebook as examples. Both of those companies focused on the bigger picture, even when it meant sacrificing short-term profits. And in the end, that's what led to their incredible success.
Yeah, it's kind of like that saying, don't mistake activity for achievement. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day hustle. But are those actions actually moving you toward your goals?
Exactly. And that's the question the book encourages you to ask yourself. Are you optimizing for those quick wins? Or are you building something truly meaningful? Amazon, for instance, prioritized growth over profits in the early days, which confused a lot of people. But look at them now.
It's a good reminder that playing the long game requires a different mindset. It takes courage to resist those immediate rewards and stay focused on that larger vision. And speaking of things that take courage, there's another key habit the book talks about that can be a real challenge for entrepreneurs: delegation. Why is it so important to learn how to delegate effectively?
Because trying to do everything yourself will lead to burnout, and you'll probably miss out on opportunities. The book explains that delegation isn't about giving up control. It's about empowering your team to use their strengths and contribute at a higher level.
So it's not just about offloading tasks, it's about giving people the right responsibilities based on what they're good at. But how do you actually do that effectively, especially when you're so used to doing everything yourself?
Well, that's where the book gets really practical. It gives you specific tips on how to identify your team's strengths, how to set clear expectations, how to provide feedback, and most importantly, how to learn to trust other people. They even give examples of how leaders like Mark Zuckerberg and Ronald Reagan used delegation to achieve amazing things. Imagine if they had tried to micromanage everything.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So the takeaway here is that letting go can actually lead to greater success, and maybe even a little bit of sanity for the entrepreneur. What else does this entrepreneurial treasure chest have in store for us?
This is where it gets really interesting. The book makes a connection you might not expect. It links success with physical fitness.
Wait, really? I mean, I know exercise is good for you, but how does that translate to building a thriving business?
Well, it's all about recognizing that your physical and mental states are connected. Think about it. Exercise helps you manage stress, it improves your focus, it boosts your energy, and it even teaches you how to push through challenges. And those are all qualities that are essential for entrepreneurs, especially when they're facing tough times.
I see what you mean. It's kind of like training for a marathon. You need stamina, resilience, the ability to keep going when things get tough. And those are qualities you can develop through physical activity.
Exactly. And the book uses Oprah Winfrey as a prime example. Her commitment to fitness isn't just about looking good, it's about optimizing her mental and physical performance so she can handle the demands of her career.
So it's not just about having business skills, it's about having that foundation of physical and mental strength.
Right.
It's like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. What other aspects of well-being does the book cover?
It talks about a whole range of practices like mindfulness, healthy eating, prioritizing sleep, and even learning to say no. The book emphasizes that sustainable success requires a balanced approach, taking care of your whole self, not just your business ambitions. And we'll dive into the specifics of those after a quick break.
Okay, so we're back and ready to dive into these well-being practices that, supposedly help entrepreneurs become unstoppable. Where do we even start?
The book starts with something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, managing stress and distractions. It acknowledges that, let's face it, running a business can be incredibly stressful.
No kidding. It's like you're always on, even when you're not working. So how do you actually create boundaries and find some peace when things are so chaotic?
One thing the book really emphasizes is the power of routines. Having structure in your day can give you back a sense of control, even when everything else feels unpredictable.
That makes sense. I guess when work is constantly spilling into your personal life, it can feel like you're on a hamster wheel. Routines can help you step off that wheel and just, breathe.
Exactly. And there's more. The book also talks about the importance of decluttering your workspace. It might sound kind of basic, but a clean and organized environment can do wonders for your focus.
Oh, I totally get that. When my desk is a mess, my mind feels like a mess too. It's like physical clutter just equals mental clutter.
It's not just a feeling, it's a real thing. Eliminating those visual distractions can help you stay on track and not feel so overwhelmed.
So it's about creating a sense of calm, both externally and internally. What other tactics does the book suggest?
Prioritizing tasks is another big one. You have to figure out which tasks are the most important and tackle those first. Don't get bogged down in the little things.
Right, it's easy to get caught up in the weeds, but you have to keep that big picture in mind and focus your time and energy on what really matters.
Exactly. And sometimes prioritizing also means letting go of things that aren't that important. You have to pick your battles.
That's a tough one.
Hmm.
I'm definitely guilty of stressing over things that, in the grand scheme of things, aren't worth my energy.
It's a common trap, especially for entrepreneurs who are driven to succeed, but the book encourages us to challenge that tendency and focus on what we can actually control.
So it's about being strategic with our worry, right? Focusing on things we can actually influence. What about when you're feeling stuck or just completely overwhelmed? Does the book offer any advice for those moments?
It actually suggests that sometimes the best thing to do is ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to others for input. Maybe brainstorm solutions, get feedback on ideas, or even just have someone to talk to about what you're going through.
That can be hard for entrepreneurs, though. We tend to be so independent, that asking for help can almost feel like admitting defeat.
You're right, that's a really important point. But the book emphasizes that asking for help is actually a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about recognizing that you don't have to have all the answers. And sometimes seeking support can lead to much better outcomes.
So it's about building a network of trusted advisors, mentors, colleagues, people who can offer different perspectives. What about all the information overload we face every day? How do you filter out the noise and stay focused?
The book addresses that too. It encourages you to be mindful of the information you're taking in. Choose sources that are accurate and insightful rather than getting sucked into negativity, which is, everywhere online.
Ugh, it's so easy to fall into that trap of doom scrolling. So it sounds like the book is encouraging us to be more intentional about what we expose ourselves to, both online and offline.
Exactly. Create an environment that nourishes your mental well-being and helps you focus on what's important.
So it's about being the gatekeeper of your own mind, choosing to focus on what lifts you up, not what drags you down. What other techniques does the book recommend for managing, that mental space?
Well, it talks about something called brain dumping. You basically just write down everything that's in your head, to-do lists, worries, random thoughts, just get it all out onto paper. It can really help to clear your mind and reduce those feelings of overwhelm.
That's interesting. It's like decluttering your mind, the same way you would declutter your desk.
Exactly. And once you've done that, you can start to organize those thoughts, figure out what needs to be done first, and even maybe see if there are any patterns in your thinking that are causing you stress.
So it's a way to become more aware of what's going on inside your head so you can, manage it better. You have to try that brain dumping technique. What else?
Along those lines, the book also emphasizes mindfulness and meditation. Those practices can help you stay present and grounded, which can be incredibly helpful when you're dealing with stress.
That makes sense. When you're constantly being bombarded by, demands and distractions, it's easy to become reactive. But mindfulness and meditation can help you create some space between, like, the stimulus and your response. It gives you more control.
Exactly. And the book suggests that these practices can help you develop greater self-awareness, better emotional regulation, and resilience.
I'm sensing a theme here. It's all about taking control of your inner world so you can be more effective in the outer world.
You got it. And that includes taking care of your physical well-being. We talked earlier about the link between success and fitness, but the book goes beyond just exercise.
So what else does a healthy entrepreneurial lifestyle look like? What are those other key ingredients?
Sleep is a big one. It might sound obvious, but getting enough sleep is crucial for, pretty much everything. Your cognitive function, emotional regulation, your overall well-being. But it's often the first thing entrepreneurs sacrifice when things get busy.
True. Sleep deprivation is never a good idea. What else?
Healthy eating is another important factor. The book argues that giving your body nutrient-rich foods can boost your energy levels, improve your mood, and help your brain function better.
So it's about making those conscious choices to nourish your body and mind rather than relying on, quick fixes that ultimately lead to burnout.
Exactly. And finally, it emphasizes the importance of learning to say no. Setting boundaries in both your professional and personal life is crucial to protect your time and energy.
That's a hard one for a lot of entrepreneurs. We always want to say yes to new opportunities. But it sounds like the book is saying that sometimes saying no can actually be the most empowering thing you can do.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are valuable and that saying no to certain things can create space for what really matters.
Okay, this is starting to feel like a total lifestyle makeover, but it's really inspiring to see how all these things, from managing stress to fitness to eating well, can all come together to create a foundation for success.
And that's what I find so compelling about this book. It takes a holistic approach. It recognizes that success isn't just about business strategies. It's about creating a life that allows you to thrive in all areas.
It's like they're saying, take care of yourself so you can take care of your business,
Yeah.
which makes perfect sense. But wait, there's more to uncover, right?
Mm.
We haven't even talked about the social aspects of entrepreneurship.
You're absolutely right. And in the next part, we'll delve into one of the most fascinating and often overlooked aspects of success, the power of your social circle.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole social circle thing. Just how much impact can the people around you really have on, your journey as an entrepreneur?
It's actually more significant than you might think. The book really digs into this idea of a circle of influence. Basically, it argues that the people you surround yourself with can either help you succeed or hold you back. And it's not just about like networking, it's about being really intentional about who you let into your inner circle.
So it's kind of like that idea that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but, applied to building a business.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that it's not just about what you can get from others, it's about what you can contribute to. Building a strong circle of influence is a two-way street. It's about mutual respect, support, and a shared desire to grow.
Okay, so it's about quality, not just quantity. But let's get down to brass tacks here.
Yeah.
What kinds of people should we be looking for? Who are the must-haves for our entrepreneurial dream team?
Well, the book starts with people who have already achieved what you aspire to. Think mentors, advisors, people who've been there and done that. They can offer invaluable insights.
So it's like finding those who have already climbed the mountain and can show you the best path.
Exactly. Learning from their experience can save you a lot of time, energy, and maybe even some costly mistakes along the way. But it doesn't stop there. The book also recommends surrounding yourself with people who are, get this, smarter than you.
Hold on. Isn't the goal to be the smartest person in the room?
That's actually a myth. If you're always the smartest person in the room, you're not being challenged, you're not learning,
Ugh.
and you're probably not growing as much as you could be.
Okay, yeah. It's like that saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So we want people who push us to think differently and level up. Who else belongs in this circle?
People who aren't afraid to ask the tough questions. You don't want to be surrounded by yes men who just agree with everything you say. Look for people who will challenge your assumptions, question your decisions, and offer different perspectives.
Right, because it's easy to get stuck in your own echo chamber. Having those dissenting voices can help you see your blind spots. Who else should we invite to the party?
The book talks about the importance of being around ambitious people, those who are driven, goal-oriented, and passionate about what they do. Their energy can be contagious.
I love that. It's like their drive rubs off on you.
Exactly. And it's not just about individual ambition. It's also about having people who believe in you and your vision, people who will be there to support you through the ups and
It's
downs.
like having your own personal cheerleading squad, you know, to remind you of your strengths when you're doubting yourself.
Precisely. They help you stay focused on the big picture and keep moving forward, even when things get tough.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a pretty amazing social circle. What other qualities does the book highlight?
It talks about optimism and a solution-oriented mindset. Surrounding yourself with people who see the glass half full can make a big difference in your own resilience and how you handle challenges.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you're facing setbacks, it's easy to fall into negativity. But having those positive voices can help you reframe things and maybe even find opportunities in the midst of difficulty.
Right. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about approaching them with a belief that solutions can be found, even if you don't see them right away.
So we're looking for those who can help us see the light at the end of the tunnel, even when things feel dark.
Exactly. But here's the thing, building this kind of social circle takes effort. You have to be intentional, nurture relationships, and offer value to others just as you seek value from them.
So it's not just about going to networking events and collecting business cards. It's about building real connections with people who share your values.
That's it. It's about building a community of like-minded people who inspire you, challenge you, and help you become the best version of yourself.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from persistence to delegation to, building a powerful social circle. It feels like we've uncovered a whole new set of tools for success.
Yeah,
But before we wrap up, can we do a quick recap of those key takeaways?
absolutely. Let's boil it down to 10 essential points. 1, persistence trumps patience. 2, embrace failure as feedback. 3, never stop learning. 4, focus on the long game, not short-term gains. 5, delegate strategically. 6, master stress management techniques. 7, prioritize your well-being. 8, cultivate a powerful social circle. 9, embrace optimism and a solutions-oriented mindset. And 10, remember that your business's success depends on you. So taking care of yourself is essential.
Wow, that's quite a list. It really highlights that entrepreneurial success isn't just about business acumen. It's about having the right mindset, habits, and support system.
And the best part is these principles aren't just for entrepreneurs. They apply to anyone who wants to succeed in life.
That's a great point. It's like a blueprint for living a more fulfilling and empowered life. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away?
I'd say take a moment to think about your own social circle. Are the people you spend the most time with lifting you up or holding you back? Do they inspire you to grow? The answer to that question might be the key to unlocking your next level of success.
That's a fantastic takeaway. We have the power to choose who we surround ourselves with, and that choice can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of entrepreneurship. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.